This video comes a bit later than I had originally intended, but sometimes life gets in the way. In this video, I introduce a question. Should Doctor Who be put back on hiatus? With that question posed, I'm sure many of you will immediately hit the dislike button. We already know there are major issues with this franchise at the moment. Issues that I have covered at length in other videos. One thing is clear, this show is not as popular as it once was. In fact, it is significantly less popular. In this video, we're going to discuss the final consolidated rating for Twice Upon a Time and compare it to other regeneration stories. The final rating for Twice Upon a Time was 7.92 million, which was higher than the average ratings for Series 10. But again, we have to look at this in context. Firstly, let's look at this in comparison to other Christmas specials and see how this is being spun. The official story is Doctor Who's 2017 Christmas special attained the highest ratings since 2014. This, however, does not say much. All it did was beat a mediocre at best special and possibly the worst thing Doctor Who has ever put out. An important fact this narrative seems to forget is, this was not just a Christmas special. It was a regeneration story. Now, let's look at the only other Christmas special that doubled as a regeneration story. As we can see, Matt Smith managed 11.14 million viewers for Time of the Doctor, which gives us an accurate place for comparison. What this demonstrates is that Doctor Who has managed to lose 3.22 million viewers, or 29% of its viewing audience in only 4 years. This is not insignificant. Let's go back to 2005, The Parting of the Ways, Christopher Eccleston's final story, which managed a final rating of 6.91 million viewers. While this was lower than Twice Upon a Time, we again have to look at this in context. When this story aired, New Who was only 13 weeks old. It was gaining momentum, but hadn't yet become the massive success it would become during the David Tennant years. The argument I'm applying to Twice Upon a Time doesn't really apply here. While the ratings for Rose were significantly higher than Parting of the Ways, I think this differential can be attributed to the curiosity of UK viewers. Many of them grew up with Doctor Who, or at least were aware of it, and they wanted to check out the new show. Others were probably classic Who fans that decided New Who was not for them. This type of drop is to be expected. These were not people that had been watching the show for years and suddenly decided to turn away from it. Now, let's look at January 1st, 2010, and the second part of The End of Time, which was David Tennant's regeneration story. In this case, it was Doctor Who's only New Year's Day special. It managed a final consolidated rating of 12.27 million, which is an increase of 5.36 million viewers, or 43% over Parting of the Ways. If we compare this to Twice Upon a Time, it represents a loss of 4.35 million viewers, or 35%. The ratings for The End of Time Part 2 demonstrate the degree to which Doctor Who had grown in popularity over a span of little more than 4 years. Also of note, Tennant's highest rated Christmas special was 2007's Voyage of the Damned, which managed a staggering 3.31 million viewers, or 5.39 million over Twice Upon a Time, a 40% loss. This momentum largely held steady for The Next Doctor in 2008, which managed 13.10 million viewers. Many will try to make the argument that the ratings for Twice Upon a Time are simply the result of the natural decay of a fan base after a show has been around for a while. Sorry, I don't buy this argument. This is not a gradual decline, but a massive drop in viewership over a few short years. While there was a difference of 1.3 million viewers between the end of David Tennant's and the end of Matt Smith's runs, it was not as major as what we're seeing now. Also, keep in mind that the BBC and British media have been hyping this as the introduction of the first female Doctor. It's been all over the news. If this is actually going over as well as the media would have you believe, then one would expect the ratings to be substantially higher than this. But why weren't they? Well, since the media would never answer this question, I will give my opinion as to what happened here. And I think there are a few causes. Firstly, the way the BBC and fandom have treated fans who demonstrate even the slightest degree of concern about the direction the show is taking has been deplorable. Why would you want to support the show any further? And as usual, although coming near the end of the video rather than the beginning this time, I'll repeat my now familiar stance on the 13th Doctor. I don't have a problem with the female Doctor if it makes narrative sense within the context of the show. I do, however, have a problem when the decision appears to have been made solely for external political and social gains. This isn't the only problem, Even before the casting of Jodie Whittaker as the 13th Doctor, many, including myself, were becoming very frustrated with the show. There seemed to be little attention given towards developing original scripts. Most of the attention seemed to be directed towards lecturing the audience on identity politics, heavily influenced by social justice and third-wave feminism. Series 9 was mediocre. Series 10 was horrendous. And on second viewing, I now find it to be mostly unwatchable. I think we can also argue that some of that 7.92 viewing figure includes those who watched out of morbid curiosity. I think what's more telling, however, there are people who decided not to watch this special at all. Where did those 5 million viewers from the height of the Tennant era go? About 4 million of them were still there at the end of the Matt Smith era. Let's go back to my original question. Should Doctor Who go back on hiatus? I'll await your responses in the comments. And that's it for today. As always, everyone, thank you for watching, and have a great day.